So here's a critically important aspect to understand about how the human body works. In terms of energy, the human body functions best and is designed to function as a demand-based system. Okay? And so if you look at all the cells in the human body, the cells create or should create that demand. Now we're talking about normal. So under normal conditions, the cells create the energy demand, and it is the liver's job to supply that demand and keep pace with that demand using its hormone soldiers and also by supplying the two sources of energy into the bloodstream. So what are those two sources of energy? Well, the sources of energy that most cells are able to use are sugar, glucose, and ketones, fat breakdown products. Some cells can only use glucose, some cells use both, some cells prefer ketones, and some cells, variably depending on their function, can either use ketones augmented by glucose. So when we're looking at what the liver supplies, and this is in the fasted state, the blood glucose and ketone concentration in the blood is one aspect. What is that number? And that number is very tightly controlled. And in the fasted state, it is controlled by the hormone glucagon. Now, the other part that most people don't pay attention to, because we always measure blood sugar and ketone levels, and we stick our fingers and we check what those... The other part that's critically important to understand is the flux of glucose and ketones through that system. In other words, how much, what's the grams per hour that enter the system and then get used up? And that's how we measure demand. And in a fasted state, that blood sugar and that ketone flux is supplied by the liver under the influence of glucagon when the human body is metabolism centered, breaking down other products to provide glucose and ketones to the cells under cellular demand. So the demand goes from the cells back to the bloodstream and therefore back to the liver.